So we are going to talk about mining old gold. I'll get into some of the details of that now, but I want to start with a little bit of philosophy because I feel very specifically about business development, and I think if we drink from the same cup, this advice might make a lot of sense. I am also going to talk really fast because I have like a 45-minute presentation I'm going to squeeze into a 15-minute interval. I will share the slides and the speaker notes. You can get it all later if I talk too fast. But talking about the philosophy of business development, I love business development, and I've always loved it because it felt like time travel. I was living in the future of my firm. I was working with the potential clients that would become our case studies, that would become the stories we would tell. It would become the future of the agency. It would be the work that the people I loved that I worked with would get to work on for the next like 6 or 9 or 12 months. So it felt very visionary to be that out in front of it and make that work happen. I also have my little NASCAR slide, but what's more important than that are the people. Because I think business development is a people-led, personal endeavor when we're dealing with agencies this size. It is a deeply, deeply, deeply personal part of the process. And these are the very kind folks that I've had a great chance to work with. In 2 years of doing this, a couple of nuggets have kind of bubbled up to the surface that seem like they are universal truths. We're going to talk about one of them today. We'll talk about the other one at Biz Dev Camp, so you should come to that. The inherent truth, I think, that I firmly believe more than anything is that good work is the best business development. And I've believed that since day one. I think most of us subscribe to this idea. Dusty Gullison, who's not here but is often at these events, has a nice little appendage he posts onto this that is, but hope is not a plan. So I think that's an appropriate way to look at this, that business development does come to you over time. You are the beneficiaries of it, but inbound organic biz dev is the Tyrannosaurus Rex from Jurassic Park. It's going to eat when it wants to eat. It's going to shit when it wants to shit, and there's nothing you can do about it. It is very, very up and down. There's no way to know what's going to happen. All we can do is build some processes that let you survive the ebbs and flows of this. And the truth is, the larger your agency gets, the more payroll you have to deal with, the more cash flow is important, the more often that organic is just not going to do the job it once did. So we need to be able to build some processes that will let us kind of weather those storms. I feel like anything we do in business development has to kind of fulfill 3 critical criteria. We're going to talk about those. Number 1 is it grows network size. That's just pure math. We just want to have more people be aware of who we are, what we do, and have the benefit of those relationships. This is just raw numbers. Within that, though, we want to have network affinity. We want people to value us in a special way and have an uncommon advantage in the way that we compete. It could be they value our work more than anybody else. We're specialized in a way no one else is. It could be that they personally like us. I don't care what it is. You just want to have the table tipped towards you in the sales process in a way. When you have network size and you don't have affinity, you have empty calories. It's just like eating carbs. It does not help you at all. So you want to have network size with network affinity. And maybe the most important thing that is the scariest thing is having network authority. And what I mean by network authority is, are you talking to people that can put you next to money? Can they put you next to referrals? They put you next to work? We spend a lot of time talking to the wrong people. We spend a lot of time talking to a variety of people. The other thing that's scary about this is when you believe that good work is the best business development, and you ride that wave of organic inbound work, you start to really believe the notion that like we get bigger projects because we do great work. We get bigger referrals and larger budgets because we're doing better and better work. And that's true. But I'm here to tell you the other side of the coin is that your network authority, the people that put you next to work, are gaining power. They are maturing in their roles, and you are riding their wave just as much as anything else. The person that hired you 5 years ago to do a $10,000 job for a small nonprofit, she's now become the SVP of some big-ass organization, and now she can hire you for a 6-figure project. And in 5 years, she's not going to be able to help you anymore, because in 5 years, she's going to be a super executive and not give 2 shits about her website. Or she's going to become a landscape architect and leave the industry. Or she's going to go into early retirement at Comcast and not be able to help you. Like, these people, in their network authority, there's a window where they are critically valuable to your business, and that is a short window. We need to be replenishing that actively and very specifically throughout our careers. The way that we can do this best is through mining old gold. And Richard Banfield said this at an early owner camp, that all the future client work you could ever need is in your existing Rolodex. And I firmly believe this. And in talking to clients for the past 2 years, I believe that this has been proven true. What we're going to talk about is a strategic email approach to just developing those relationships and nurturing that dialogue. This is going to be a really simple lesson. This is not going to be anything earth-shattering. You're not going to leave here with a profound kind of epiphany. This is just some emails you're going to write if you follow this advice. When you think about old gold, we're going to put it into 3 categories. The first one is past clients. Throw away all the assholes. We're not going to re-engage with those. Put them on a shelf. But when we talk about past clients, I mean everybody. Everybody that you ever worked with, anybody that was ever in a meeting with you, anyone you ever met in a pitch, anybody that's a past client. I hear this all the time from my clients. How did you get that lead? Well, it turns out it came from this woman who was a designer on a project we did 8 years ago, and I didn't really even remember talking to her. But now she works at this company, and she kind of held onto her information, and she's the one that suggested us internally. I didn't even really talk to her directly, I don't think, but she's the one that referred us. Everyone. You are going to sit down, and you are going to look, and you're reacquainting yourself with all your past clients, and they're going to think through deeply, who did we work with? Who did we talk with? Who were in those meetings? Look at your calendar events. I don't care. Get that information and build this list of past clients. Then take your ass to a coffee shop, get out of your office, sit down and go through and find them on LinkedIn and reacquaint yourself. They've been promoted. They've changed jobs. They're still there. Just get a sense of who these people are now and where they are. If they've moved on, great. That's a new client you can reach out to. And you can reach out to the person that replaced them because there's still some lingering affinity in the walls there that you can tap into. So we're going to build this list. We're going to curate it and make sure the information is accurate. The next list we're going to work on are your near misses. These are the people that considered you for a project in the past 5 or 10 years and went in another direction. This is valuable because, if you think about it, as many wonderful agencies that are out there, there are some agencies that do shitty work and leave clients very disappointed. So let's say 25% of the time when people don't choose you, they choose somebody else that does a crap job. That's 25%. On top of that, clients sometimes misdiagnose good work for not great work because it was their fault it didn't turn out the right way. They don't really identify that conveniently, but they might blame that on the agency. So there's probably another 20% that's misdiagnosed as bad work that was actually pretty decent work. But 45% of the time, when they didn't choose you, they regret the decision they made, and they still have this lingering affinity for you. You were the one that they had a good dialogue with in the sales process, and there's no stink attached to you. So this is another list you're going to create. Everyone you pitched, everyone you talked to that are near misses that got away. Build that list. And the last list is a little bit more organic and a little loosey-goosey. Sit down with wherever your people are organized, wherever your information is best cataloged on LinkedIn or in Outlook or whatever. Reacquaint yourself with your whole network and try to identify those people that live in the cracks. The people that, they weren't a past client and they weren't a near miss, but I used to work with this one person, and then she got this job at some crazy-ass amazing company, and her network's probably pretty valuable because she's met all these interesting people. These are your people connectors, other people that might be able to have network authority and put you close to money, put you close to projects. Build that list. So once you're armed with those 3 lists, now you have all this information in a database. You want to have good data hygiene here. You want to do this once and not have to do it again. Just lightly refresh it over time. Organize it in a CRM or don't, I don't care. Just make sure that it exists somewhere and the data is up to date. When you reach out to these folks, I urge you to consider 3 elements in your outreach. The first one is intentionality. Oftentimes we have these kind of random, meandering, networking things without a really intended agenda, and you wind up with exactly what you went into it with, nothing. Just have an idea of what you want to get out of it. It could be a project, it could be a referral, it could be something that you get at the other end of this. You want to fish with a spear and not with a net. This is something that Greg Story taught me when I was at Happy Cog. He was terrified we were going to become a higher ed company because all of our leads started to become higher ed, and he didn't want to be just that. He wanted us to kind of go out there and have an agenda and get the work we wanted. So bring that to this. Bring some intentionality and some designed purpose to this, just so you can check your own efforts against what you're trying to accomplish. It may be that the best thing you can get are referrals. Again, the way that we often ask for referrals is, hey, Susan, we really liked working with you. If there's anybody in your network that would, be a good referral, we'd love to work with anyone you'd refer to us. Please, feel free to make those referrals. You just gave Susan pain in the ass homework. You just gave her an impossible math calculation to look at all of her connections and be like, I don't know, who would be the right person to refer? There's so many people, I'm just really not going to act on that. Instead, say to Susan, what we really loved about working with you was we love working with HVAC companies. Where's Ben? We love working with HVAC companies. We love this industry. We love actually working with people that lead the tech team at HVAC companies. But between $5 and $10 million in revenue. People that might have even an internal resource. We really work well when there's someone in-house that can take over what we do. That's what we're looking for. And then Susan thinks, oh, that's Bill. I could totally hook him up with Bill. Or I could introduce him to Rebecca because that's what she does. You just made it specific and explicit, and you can get to a more valuable referral when the time comes. Don't ask for the referral in the first email. email. We're not going to do that. We're going to get to the point where our emotional intelligence tells us it's the right time to do this. But this could be one of our intended goals. We are also going to harness a lot of sincerity. We're going to be ourselves. We are going to ground this conversation in the relationship we had with this client. We are not going to be douchey salespeople. We are not going to use templates if we can avoid it. We are going to try to write specific emails. I'd rather you spend 5 minutes on one email than 2 minutes on 500 emails and spam these people to death. These are people you have relationships with. So add a little bit of sincerity to the mix and make sure that you're approaching them giving some time to this process so that you can find the right time to work together. Do not come to them with this hair on fire emergency that we need to work together, or I need this lead, or we have a gap in our schedule. Like, don't bring that to this. Clients can smell fear, and it is a stinky cologne. Like, just try to have a good conversation with this client without a lot of weight added to it. This is warm outbound. This is not a drip campaign. This is not beating these people to death over time with, hey, did you get my last email? Or, maybe you were in the shower, I didn't hear the phone ring. Like, don't do that. Come to this with some patience and come to this with the relationship you've already cultivated with this person, because people buy people. They buy people. They don't buy brands. They don't buy projects and process most times. They buy people that make them feel safe 90% of the time. 10% of the time, they might buy somebody that inspires them. But most of the time, they buy the person that makes them feel safe. They buy that relationship. They invest in people. So be yourself. Be yourself and bring that to this outreach. Write emails that you think are sincere, and we'll get that outcome. And bring an attitude of abundance. Operate in an economy of abundance. Don't operate in an economy of scarcity. Don't chase them down and try to sweat them for a meeting, sweat them for a call. I want to get to the next step in this. Bring your patience to this. Have the dialogue. Start this kind of email chain with them. And the hardest part is not the first email you're going to write. The hardest part is the second email you're going to write 4 months later. You need an excuse for that because you need to sustainably follow up. You cannot just sit down on a Friday afternoon, write 5 of these emails, not get a response, and say it's not working. That is not giving this its fair shake, and you're going to disappoint yourself if you do that. You need to reach out to these folks and then continue to follow up. What we are doing here is we are manufacturing recency bias. That is all. That is all we are trying to do. We are trying to move your card from the back of their card catalog to the front of their card catalog. And you want to make sure that card has the right information on it for who you are today and not who you were 4 years ago. You want them to understand who you are and what you want. It's the enemy of business development for the people in this room. If you've been doing this for 5 years or 10 years, the enemy of business development is not, I haven't heard of your firm. There's going to be lots of people that haven't heard of your firm. The enemy of business development is, oh, shit, 3 months ago, you would have been perfect for this project, but we wound up not doing it because we couldn't find somebody to do it at the time. Or I didn't realize you guys worked in anything besides WordPress. We would have totally worked with you if we knew you did that kind of work. You want to make sure that they have an accurate idea of who you are and the kind of work you do, and then you want to follow up. You want to have continued outreach. You want to make sure that if nothing else, they know you're not just doing this in a transactional one email kind of one-off. You're in this for the long haul. You're going to follow back up. You're going to wish them a happy new year at the end of the year. You're going to find ways to kind of reoccur in their email inbox in a reliable way. The longer you do this, the better. You're not going to email these people on this magical day where they have $100,000 burning a hole in their pocket. That's just not going to happen. You want to develop, though, enough of a relationship where that time comes or they can make a referral. You are front of mind and they can act on that. So you want to set a reliable cadence. You want to make sure that you're reaching out in an appropriate, sustainable way. Send the first email, set a reminder to follow up 4 months later. If they follow up with you, respond, delete that next reminder and reset it. But if they don't respond, follow up with them 4 months later. The hard part is, how do you reach out to them the second time? The first time, it's hey, it's been a while. That's the nature of this email. Whatever you want to put in there as your alibi, inherently it's just, hey, it's been a while, let's get reacquainted. 4 months later, though, you need an alibi for why you're coming back. You need something else to bring to the table besides, hey, I didn't get here. If you come back to them and say, I didn't hear back from you or something, you are just destined for the fate you deserve. You want to come back to them with, be generous. Find a piece of intellectual property that you've created that you can share with them that they would find valuable. Invite them to an event you're hosting. Make them aware of something that you're sponsoring. Make the bar hey, I saw this interesting thing online, I wanted to send it to you, and come above that. Don't do that. Don't do like, I saw this article, I thought you'd think it was interesting. Everyone does that. You have something though. You have a blog post you wrote, you have an ebook you published, you have a piece of work product you've created, you have something you can share with them and just say, hey, I thought you would find this really valuable. I know that you work in this space and we've talked about this before. I just saw this and thought of you. I wanted to share it with you. Hope you're doing really well. Maybe we can connect soon. Just do that. Do that, be generous, and they will remember you in that kind of light, and they will have a positive, lingering impression. So cultivate that. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to increase network size. We're going to try to deepen network affinity, and we're going to try to aim at the people with the right network authority. We're going to reach out to past clients, near misses, and people connectors. And we're going to do that in a very intentional way, with a lot of sincerity, in a sustainable fashion. And I guarantee you, if you all do this, you will non-competitively go back and mine your own background. You can share these insights with one another. You can share these tips with each other. You're not stealing each other's clients. You're just kind of going back through your own heritage and rediscovering your own clients. And that's it.